Mr. Murray, here we are again. I think we skipped a month. Busy market, some time, hey, we're other priorities, but it's good to be back discussing what's happening in the Auckland market. And it's interesting, right? Because you're looking at the headlines and there's no point making a fuss out of it, but it's a motor-ready market. If you're looking at the last 3 months, prices in Auckland have dropped 2.4%. Last month was a substantial, almost 1% drop. But the reality is this, right? These are averages, and there is definitely properties that are getting potentially selling at the level that dictate what's happening out there. At the same time, there are property as well that sell at an exceptions.
Yes.
And it's what the agents ultimately will do that will determine the success of the campaign, right? And we're seeing this over and over again. So it's easy to say, hey, it's a dropping market, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, all of that I agree with. What you said, it's a dropping market. It doesn't mean anything because we're actually seeing a lot of people transacting well. And I think it is about the agent choice of what you're talking about and realizing as a seller, you only have a finite time on the market where you're the fresh piece of business, the fresh home, the new listing, and you have to capitalize on the situation that you're in and take advantage of that. Because as you know, the buyers seem to come in, swoop in on the new stock, make their values known. And if you don't engage, what happens?
What happens is, I got a list of now 22 properties that in 2026 have sold for less than what the first offer was presented to them. And it's always really challenging, right? Because first offer is the best offer, is a saying in real estate. And sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not. And I feel if the owners understood better the concept of it's not how long you've been on the market as the property, but is how long the particular buyer is been looking for your type of home. Because there are two types of buyers, right? There is the buyer that has been looking for 3 months. They've missed out on a couple of auctions. Maybe they had a property under contract that fell because of a dodgy building report. It's a frustrated buyer, right? And when they see something they like, they go at it, and I call them kamikaze buyers. They go at it and they move on to the next one really fast. That's one buyer. The other buyer is the brand new buyer. And we all got champagne test, be a budget, but until you've been rejected and tested the market for yourself, you're always going to go lower because you don't understand true value in properties. And unfortunately, once a property's been on the market for a while, those good buyers have already seen the property, they've disengaged with it, and now you're left to find a miracle buyer when, second month on the market, last month flavor.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that, that's 1 in 5, 22%. That is an alarming rate. So what that tells me is that conversations and statistical data around what's happening is there's a disconnect between some of the vendors. I'm not saying your vendors, other vendors not quite understanding where things at, because 1 in 5 missing the market's best offer. We'd like to get that number down and get them sold all for what the market says it is at its peak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to think. This is such a deep conversation that could go on for a long time, but we understand where things are at. I think bringing it back to the moderation of the market currently, it's still a busy market and there's always exceptions. And so, think about our auction results that we've had recently. They've been really much above the statistical average. I think we've been up to 75%.
75%. And let's talk about the averages. Harcourt's anyway. And Harcourt's is a big organization and we're very much auction focused. We've got many parts of Auckland, right? It's about 50% selling under the hammer.
1 and 2.
And over the last 3 months, and look, this is a plug for us. It's our podcast. So let's plug ourselves for something. We had a success rate of just over 75%. So that shows that, what does it show? Tell us, what does that show to the person watching?
I think it shows the nature of the salesperson who you've trusted to sell your home, knows exactly what they're doing in terms of engaging interest, ensuring that you as the seller know exactly where you stand in terms of where that interest may sit value-wise, clear communication throughout the process. So I think back in the days long ago, Diego, vendors would turn up to the auction really scared about what's going on because there's been not that much communication. But as you know, when we run our campaigns, the vendors know every step of the way, so there's no surprises. Hey, and if they're one of the two that isn't going to sell, they're more than likely very aware of that prior to the auction, and we're moving forward into the conditional market. But if there is a bidder, they're well known, so they're not turning up with butterfly in their stomach, so they can make informed decisions at the time. And 75% under the hammer success rate. Let's not forget about 100% 2 Fridays ago. Them all being knocked with the hammer on the night.
Yeah, that was an extremely successful evening, and it was just testament of good property, good agents, and good marketing. That's the last plug that we do on us, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see the prediction of, and look, there's no point talking about why the market is performing the way it is. It's out of our control. What we can control is some of the outcomes, but what is your prediction getting at the end of this winter into spring?
Well, I'd like to think that we were the first quarter of this year, we did see an influx of people coming into the market despite the interest rates going up. And I think that's because people have been saving money for years, maybe first home buyers, 4 or 5 years plus, saving for deposits, see the interest rates tweaking up, going, oh, well, I'm not going to wait any longer. I'd like to think that's set to continue, maybe a bit of stability in the country, moving into the Christmas summer period. I think it's a fair, balanced market and has been for some time.
And lastly, what do you feel about election? I personally don't think there's as much talk as there has been in previous elections. Do you feel the same, or am I just not watching the news?
I don't watch too much news either, and I fear it's probably going to ramp up as we get closer, but you're right, it hasn't been hogging the headlines. And hey, that's a good thing. Traditionally, the whole economy can slow down a little in election year, but we live in a different world than when that potentially happened pre-COVID. World moves faster now. Like you think about all the events that we've all gone through over the last few years, everyone moves on after a couple of weeks normally, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, look, the last thing I want to say is that thank you for watching, liking and sharing this if you find that there's somebody else that could take benefit out of this. And look, we're here to provide some, just our opinion, right? And if you ever got questions or you want to have a conversation more in depth around your property, the market, there is no obligation. We're here to provide advice. We've got plenty of good agents in our team, in our office. So I just wanted to say that because I said no more plugs, but really that's what we are doing, and we're happy to help if we can, right?
Yeah, and we would never hound you, so please feel free.
Don't have time for that, right?
No.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.